President Joe Biden has declared that there will be a peaceful and orderly transfer of power as Donald Trump takes control of the United States of America. And joining us now is Erich McElroy, who's a spokesman for Democrats Abroad UK. Eric, welcome to the show. A hugely anticipated speech by Joe Biden addressing the nation. Lots of mention of power will transition peacefully. That was a clearly veiled pop at Donald Trump, wasn't it?
Well, it's funny that we're in an era where that is a veiled pop, and under any other president transitioning than before Donald Trump, that wouldn't be considered any sort of a pop. That was a hallmark of the American democracy until Donald Trump. And so the fact that the Democrats are doing this, that's what we stand for. That's what we're about. We've accepted the results of the election. We're obviously not happy about it because I'm a Democrat and I believe in the values of Kamala Harris and I believed in the campaign that they ran. But it's a free and fair election. We've accepted the results. You're not going to see us storming the Capitol anytime soon, even though we're unhappy. You know, we'll look onwards. The midterms are just around the corner. That's the nice thing about American politics is there's always an election coming. And so the fight continues there.
And Eric, Joe Biden also say you can't love your country only when you win, but there does seem to be a lot of problems with accepting this result from the liberal America, from the Democrats, certainly from the liberal media. Donald Trump always had a chance of winning. I mean, there are only two people in the race. He has won. Do you think it's been the beginnings of the world's biggest temper tantrum? Why are liberals such sore losers?
Well, I don't think they are. I mean, I know that, you know, some of the article that was in the Daily Mail about the comedians on the late night comedy shows talking about the loss. But some of the things, they made jokes. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to make jokes about the people in power. They made jokes about Biden.
They were crying.
Yeah, because it's an emotional time. Comedians have emotions too, Martin. We believe, you know, we care and we have a stake in this. I'm also a stand-up comedian as well as being part of Democrats Abroad. So we do have emotions other than laughter. But Stephen Colbert did say that this is a democracy and the majority has spoken. Jimmy Kimmel, who got emotional because he cares about his country and is worried about some of the people that we think that Trump will hurt with his administration, as we've seen him hurt in his previous administration. He said that in January, Donald Trump will become president. And it doesn't mean that we're going to storm the Capitol because we didn't like the result. And again, before Donald Trump and the mega movement, that had never happened before. And I never want to see that happen to the country that I'm from again.
I think we can all agree on that. Another comment that leapt out of Joe Biden's speech today at the White House and the Rose Garden, he said, let's bring down the temperature. They think that's a bit rich when only last week, Joe Biden said that Republican supporters were garbage in response to that floating isle of garbage comment made by a stand-up comedian, you know, a stand-up comedian who makes an inappropriate joke. That's what they do. Nevertheless, it was seized upon. And in this campaign, it was an incredibly negative campaign. Once again, Groundhog Day, echoes of 2020, echoes of 2016, Adolf Hitler, fascism. I mean, seriously, do you think that's the rhetoric of dialing down the nation? Do you think actually that kind of approach from the Democrats is what's helped to make America so divided?
I mean, I think it's pretty laughable to say the Democrats are the ones that have an issue with name calling when you're looking at Donald Trump. I mean, there's a long litany of people that he's mocked, from people with disabilities to comments that he's made about people of color, to claiming that legal migrants in America were illegal and were eating cats and dogs. And after that comment from Biden, where he clarified he wasn't trying to say Trump supporters, he was trying to talk about the comedian, Biden misspoke quite a bit, as we saw, and he admitted that. The J.D. Vance, following that comment where people were allegedly offended about the garbage thing, J.D. Vance called the vice president of the United States trash in a speech. And that was one of his final remarks before the vote. So rhetoric wise, it's an election, it's heated, but I think that the idea that we hopefully go forward, and, I didn't want Trump to be president again, but I do hope for the best. I hope that the country can come together. That's what we do want to have happen. I don't want to see America fail, because if America fails, we all fail. And that's an important thing to go forward.
Eric, do you think the Democrats need to completely rethink your approach to politics, identity politics, net zero, getting rid of self-sufficiency of petrochemicals? It's been absolutely rejected by the electorate. It was a landslide. Astonishingly, Donald Trump is more popular in terms of the vote, in terms of the final votes, than JFK in 1960.
I mean, there's a lot of things that are in the Democratic agenda which are popular. And if you separate out the politicians, it's usually they go for those things which the messaging maybe is the problem that we have there. You know, there were states where the abortion bans had been put into place because of the actions of Donald Trump, and those passed to protect women's right to choose. But people also then didn't support some of the Democratic candidates in those races who are going to make sure that a national ban never happens. So there is a disconnect there that is, yeah, something that we have to work on, obviously, because in politics, as you know, you need to win to make the change that you want to see happen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for being so gracious today. Thanks for joining us on the show. Erich McElroy, the spokesman for Democrats Abroad UK and a stand-up comic. Very best of British. Thanks for joining us here on GB News.